Okay, in this video, we're going to show the basic threading for a Quilter's Choice Professional, also a Jane, and an Accomplish. They're essentially all the same machine with minor upgrades over time. They're Quilter's Choice Professional, BLQP, I think it is. Let's take a peek. I think it's BLQP. Yeah. BLQP. This was the first one that they made. Then they made the Jane, and then they made the Accomplish. They're essentially the same machine with a few internal changes, but they all thread the same. So we're going to use this one because it's the one I have. All right, so to start out, you got your spool pins back here. You have your telescoping thread guide. You want to bring that all the way to the top and make sure that these loops up here are directly over these spool pins, because you want the thread to go directly up to one of these rings and then into the machine. So we're going to start with this basic spool of thread. It doesn't really matter which one you use. I'm going to use this one just because it's easy to enter that hook there because it's got an open loop. So you're going to bring the thread up, bring it behind, and then into there. Now you're going to bring the thread over, and you see this pre-tension here. You're basically going to put it through all of these. All right. So we're going to do something along the lines of looping it through. So it's like this. I'm doing this with one hand, so it's a little tricky. A little bit easier if I was using two hands, but I'm holding my camera at the same time. All right, so what it's going to look like when you're done looping it through is something like this. That creates a little extra drag. It's a pre-tension to kind of straighten out the thread that may have some kinks in it, and to add just a little bit of drag before you come down to your upper tension unit. I would recommend that you raise your presser foot, which will open these discs. It'll allow it a lot easier for you to get the thread in. So you're going to bring the thread into this thread guide next. Snap in like that, and then you go in between the metal discs, bring it around and up. You're going to hook it into your check spring so that when you pull on it, you can see that it's going to pull on that check spring. You're going to go underneath this hook, thread guide, and snap it back into this thread guide. Now you're going to put it in your take-up lever from right to left. There's a hole, goes through there. All right. Now, oh wait, I think we got some. There we go. Now we're clear. I always snap it back into here again. I just feel like it contains everything nicely. And then we're going to come down into this guide. And then there's always one down by the needle. So it's over here. Snap it into the needle clamp guide there, and then we're going to thread the needle. Now I'm going to see if this threader works. I'm working on this machine right now, so I'm not sure if the needle threader actually works. We'll find out. Yep, it worked great. So there we go, pulls it into there. Now you're going to want to take your thread and put it into whichever foot you're using and pull it to the back like that. All right, so that's your upper thread. It should look just like this. Now we're going to do your bobbin. So there's definitely the right way and wrong way of putting a bobbin into a bobbin case, but luckily it's the same way for every bobbin case on any sewing machine. And the trick is you always want the thread to reverse direction when it's exiting the bobbin case through the tension. So this little flat plate right here, that's the tension spring on this bobbin case. It squeezes on the thread as it exits the bobbin case. This little slot here is where it enters and goes underneath. And this is the post that the bobbin will sit on. This machine uses L-class bobbins. They're a little shorter than, say, standard 15 class bobbins, and I think they're a tiny bit larger diameter, but I'm not entirely sure. But you want to use this bobbin on this machine. Okay, you could use plastic ones, but this is a pretty high-speed machine, and they can start to get chipped on the edges. So you want to keep track of that, and you don't want to drop these kind because then they can bend and they're really hard. You basically have to toss them if a metal bobbin gets bent. So anyway, I don't have a whole lot of thread on here, so see if we can take care of this. All right, so you're going to turn the bobbin case over to the opening, and you're going to look to see where it exits. So it's going to exit over to the left. We'll see that once we put it in. So we want our thread, because we want it to change direction, we want it to exit going right, because it's going to exit the bobbin case going left. So that means the thread comes out, let's see if I can do it, in this direction, from the top over. And we drop it in the bobbin case, put it into the notch, and pull it underneath that spring. So as the thread is exiting, going to the left, you can see the bobbin case turning to the right, which means the thread is coming off and doing an instant U-turn to go out. So there's no slack in this thread. If you were to put it in the wrong way, which is essentially turning it this way, you can see the bobbin is now chasing the thread. What can happen as the machine is running quickly, it can overspin in that direction and jam up this bobbin case. So in any bobbin case on any machine, you always want the thread to reverse direction. So you can see they're going in opposite directions. Thread is coming out to the left, the bobbin is rotating to the right. So now on this particular bobbin case, it has a lock mechanism. So you're going to want to snap it onto the side post of the machine, and we're going to go do that. All right, so on this machine, it's got left side access here. It's a side loader. So you can see down here there's a post, and this opening on the bobbin case should be pointed up. You basically put it down there and push it into place, and it will click into place. This thread, so you can see this machine needs cleaning. It's one I'm working on. The thread, you just leave it down in there, because what we're going to do is we're going to come to the top thread, all right, and we're going to rotate the hand wheel, bring the needle down, bring the needle up, and then we should be able to pull on this once it's made its full rotation. And see, it formed a stitch, and now we've got both the upper and lower threads on top of the needle plate, and this is a great way to start. You put it back into the foot, and you take both of these, one coming from the needle plate, one coming from the needle. You pull them to the back, and the fabric will go in between those two. You can hold them in place when you make your first couple stitches, and that will keep the thread from slipping out when you start out. Now in this machine, it has a cutter. So when you cut, it will cut and hold the thread down below. So you don't have to pull it up each time. I would recommend doing it when you first start stitching. You just have better results that way. But ongoing, as long as everything's working properly, you should be able to cut the thread and then continue sewing. All right, so that's your basic threading for a Baby Lock, Quilter's Choice Professional, Jane, and Accomplish. It's essentially the same thing. Now, I'm not going to get into tension settings or anything like that. I just wanted to do basic threading because people have asked about that, so I'm going to try and do that with as many machines as I possibly can. All right. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. Please like this video if it's helpful. Please subscribe. It's only going to make me be able to do more videos like this and help more people. Until next time, take care.